Well, welcome to Fools. We are three fellas who one day started reading books and talking about them, and we do that. We continue to do it so that you don't have to. Welcome to our show. That's what it is. Today's book, boy oh boy, I've just been excited to talk about it, and then we haven't done it, and then we had to push it off a week, and it's here, baby.
It's here.
We're finally there.
And we pushed off a week. I'm glad we did, though, because then I was able to listen to it, and I thought maybe I don't need to finish this book, but holy crap, every part of it's great. It's a really cool book.
It's so good. It's a good cosmic horror that, of course, complies to our theme, which is, Kylan, remind the audience what is our theme?
Our theme is boats, baby.
Yeah.
We're talking boats.
And this one is kind of a stretch, but
that's
who cares? Who freaking cares?
We didn't really get into the theme thing, but with the theme, it's how we get there, right?
Yeah.
That's the interesting part. It's
Yeah.
the friends we make along the way. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Evan, you picked it, so.
I sure did. I thought there was going to be boats. I was like, it's called The Fisherman, which, by the way, this week's book is The Fisherman. Okay. Yeah, getting back into it, I thought that there was going to be boats because it was called The Fisherman and there was the ocean on the cover. And there just wasn't any boats in the book. And that's not my fault. I feel like that's not my fault.
I feel like they never. You would think that fishermen would use a boat to fish.
But then you consider fly fishing and rivers and creeks, and you're like, oh, that's a whole other subgenre of fishing that's a big deal that consumes a lot of people's lives.
Both literally and figuratively. I've heard that fishing does claim the most lives of any sport. Mostly because I think people are getting drunk and then drowning.
Well, one time I went fishing, fly fishing, and I was wearing those stupid overalls that you're supposed to keep you dry so you can stand in the lake and
Gators, right? Is that what they're called? Waders?
10 minutes in,
Waders.
I fell in and water just filled up my gaiters. I'm like, I'm just going to be wet this entire time. It was stupid.
Oh,
it was a lot of fun.
Then it's like, it's no longer,
Caught some good fish that day, though. It was a really good day other than being soaked the entire time.
Did you eat the fish?
No.
So you just
catch and release.
But doesn't that scar them for life? Does it
I
ruin
don't
them?
think.
It doesn't ruin them, and I think that they don't know. It's okay to eat fish because they don't have any feelings. You know who said that? Nirvana in that one song, Something About the Way.
That's true.
Yeah, and if you look at a fish, you're like, I get it.
Fuck that thing.
I mean, be nice to them, but they're going to be okay if I pull them out for a bit and put them back.
Exactly.
Nah, you don't need to be nice to them. Kill it. It's a monster. They're awful.
Speaking of fish monsters, perfect segue.
Nice.
The Fisherman is a cosmic horror novel by John Langan, written in 2016. Let me just lay it out for you. When Abe loses his wife Marie to cancer, he discovers an unexpected lifeline, fishing. In those quiet hours in the water, he feels something like her presence, guiding him back from the edge. When his coworker Dan, a man who lost his entire family in a car accident, asks to join him, Abe agrees. But Dan carries a darkness Abe can sense but not name. When Dan suggests a remote stream called Dutchman's Creek, a diner cook refuses to let them leave without hearing a century-old story about Der Fischer, the fisherman. That's German for the fisherman. Some waters run deeper than any man should wade. Some things are lost and should stay lost.
Nice.
Dun, dun, dun.
There we go.
It's a spooky book. It's a spooky book. You guys got me reading spooky books, which I never would have ever done in my life.
Spooky's good.
Incredible.
Spooky is good. It was so good, and it's like a subgenre of that Lovecraft created. Was he the father of this kind of thing?
Are you referring to Lovecraftian?
Yeah. Anyway, it's better. I've only listened to that one Lovecraft, and this is infinitely better than anything I think that guy ever did.
Yeah, because it doesn't do the thing that I loved about this, and it's not a spoiler, but it is whatever. Is it has Lovecraftian whoa, it's crazy. But it doesn't do the Lovecraft thing of being and I just, let me tell you, couldn't tell you what that was.
Yeah.
I can't describe it.
Yeah.
It's vague, but it's also not annoyingly vague. It leaves you being whoa, that's crazy, but I kind of understand it, but I don't know how to describe it.
He tries to actually describe it. You feel like you're going on this journey with this person, and he's like, I'm going to give you my best.
Yeah, he puts in an effort, and that's enough instead of like, "No one could ever know what that was that I saw." He's like, "I'm gonna try to describe it."
I've always said, like, the scary movie is scarier if you never see the monster. What this book taught me was that it's even scarier if the monster's described in very vague terms. He never really,
Yeah.
like, outlines the whole shape of it, you know? But then he describes, like, an eye or, like, a feature of it, and you're like, "Oh,
Oh, it's so
that
good.
sounds horrible."
And then there are some monsters that, yeah, like, he gives it a vague description enough to be like, "That's scary as shit," but he doesn't give you detail. You're like, "I want more," but he
Mhm.
doesn't.
And it's the
Yeah.
lore thing. I love when
Mhm.
it's like, "Ooh, there's more stuff going on that we just don't understand." And it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like a
Yeah.
cheat, it's just like, "Shit's crazy, man, like, we couldn't even tell you. This is wild."
Couldn't even tell you.
We couldn't tell you.
Oh man, I just loved it so much, and we'll talk about all of that later. But it was refreshing, I think, to read a book like this and be like, man, because the other thing I will say is super well written
Yeah,
by
Yeah.
really.
this man, John Langan. Like the prose is what I mean, like the wording. It's poetic. We'll get into it. But John Langan, he lives in New York's Hudson Valley, which is the very landscape that is haunting every page of this novel. He discovered horror reading Stephen King's Christine high school, and also he loved horror, all horror. Peter Straub's Ghost Story, he like particularly calls out. And then he spent 18 years teaching Gothic fiction at SUNY New Paltz. Is that a college? What
New
is that?
What the
Paltz.
hell is
Yeah,
that?
it's a college.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, that could have been an elementary school, and I would not have known. It's
You
like,
said
oh,
Yeah.
New Paltz. I'm gonna say that again, like I know what it is.
Also, it'd be hilarious if he taught 18 years of Gothic horror at an elementary school. It's like, "Sir,
for 3rd
Yeah.
graders.
you are a history teacher."
Like, you are scaring these children. They are not equipped to deal with this.
For the last time, you're supposed to stay 30 feet away.
You're not allowed to
Oh.
be here.
You are
God,
not
get
employed
outta
here. Yeah.
You don't even have
All
kids here.
right. Take it from the top, except this time I know what this is. SUNY, New Paltz, steeping himself in the literature of dread. He won the Bram Stoker Award for this book in 2017, which I think is cool that that's an award, and I think he should have won that award.
Yeah, I agree. If anyone deserves the Bram Stoker Award, it is Johnny
Right.
Langan.
I agree. So I have questions for you guys. What is your relationship to horror?
I'll
That's a good
start.
question.
I love horror. I love it so much. I love it. I didn't read a ton or read a ton of it or watch a ton of it. Like I just wasn't very exposed to it until like high school. We started watching scary movies at like Halloween parties and like late night hangs. And you showed me Paranormal Activity, and I slept on
Yeah.
my parents' floor for like a week and a half.
In
And
high school?
yeah, but I
Okay.
love it. Like it scares me and it makes me afraid to go outside, but then I want to do more.
Why do you love it?
I think it's like probably an adrenaline thing. I think I'm also fascinated by things that are like threatening, you know? I feel like my response is to figure it out, you know?
Mhm.
And like try and get closer to things that I don't understand. So I think I've got like a curiosity, potentially an open-mindedness, if I may be so bold,
And
that
you may.
predisposes me to horror. I just like it. I don't know.
I like it. What about Kyle? What do you got?
I avoid horror generally in the majority of my life. I remember my older sister, showed me and my younger siblings Scary Movie 3, which is a funny movie,
A horror, a totemic horror film.
but it scared us so bad when we were kids that we weren't allowed to watch it. But I like you, Evan, I kind of avoided it unless I was trying to be cool in junior high to be like, I'm not scared of scary movies. I'll watch scary movies every day in my house. Um, But then, like, as I don't know, it's not my favorite thing. But then, because of like little things in high school, like we read The Yellow Wallpaper in high school, which I think is a short story. Do you guys remember that?
I
Yeah.
That's one
do,
of the
yeah.
best. That was so good, and that has stayed with me. And then, like, I don't know if I guess you could call Dracula. I like the classic horror things that we've talked
Mm.
about, Frankenstein. Um, but this was a whole new thing for me, and I was very impressed and thought, man, I want to read more scary books because it just hits different than a scary movie.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
What
my
about you?
opinion.
Dude, I have been obsessed with horror for forever, and I was a big old scaredy cat when I was a little kid. I used to practice not breathing in bed so that, like, if a monster came in my room, specifically Chucky, came in my room, he'd be like, "He's
Ah.
already dead, so I can't get him."
Like, I'm already dead, you dumb doll. Get
Which
out of here. That's so sad.
It's weird. When I say it out loud, I'm like, "Oh, a therapist would have a field day." But I was always super scared, and then, like you guys, like, in high school, we had a friend, Jules, that showed me Supernatural, and then I got
Oh yeah.
super into horror, and, like, I was always obsessed with it because it's, like, the adrenaline thing, but then now, especially, like, starting to write and stuff, it's just, like, so much more open road. I feel like it's kinda like the way you guys feel about fiction is how I feel about horror. It's like it can be any or science fiction, it can be anything, and it can mean
Yeah.
anything, and, like, it's just such an open playground that's so fun to me. So I
No,
love it.
totally, and I never realized that until, this book and a few other ones, because I would have never ever dove into any of this, but you're right, it's a playground that it can be so much. It can't just be like, "I'm trying to scare you." It's like, it's psychologically
It can
effing with you,
it can be
and
funny, it
it's
can
funny.
yeah,
Yeah, it can be it's great.
it's awesome. Like, it makes me
It
I'm
just
like, you could be Alien, you can be Meg 3 and you can be Child's Play, like, it can and Get Out, like, you could be all these
Yeah,
things, and it's just so fun.
Yeah, sometimes it's like a deeply symbolic, like it definitely means a specific thing. Like the Babadook is
Mhm.
like,
yeah.
is super scary, but also it's like just the stages of grief. And then sometimes it's just a scary thing, you
Yeah,
know?
Scary
it's
movie.
just loud and spooky. And you're just like,
Yeah.
"Oh."
But I think good horror should like take you all the way to the edge of like your comfort zone and push you past it like a little bit, you know? I feel like that's a hard one to walk because
Yeah.
there's a lot of bad horror.
There's a lot of bad horror. If y horror is not edging you, like, it's not doing it right.
That's the
It's gotta bring you to the
yeah,
edge,
it's gotta
just
be edging
edge
you
you. Is that
the
the
whole
term I'm
time.
looking for?
That's
Yeah.
exact
Yeah,
you're nailing it, buddy.
correct.
Yeah, the worst thing horror can ever be is boring.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
once you're boring, it's like, "Alright, well, what are we doing here?"
Oh, dude, we gotta talk horror at some point because I still no one in my life likes horror. So so then, okay, now I'm in this predicament because if I'm gonna watch a scary movie,
You have
I'm
to
gonna
do it
be
by yourself,
alone. I'm
alone.
alone.
Yep.
And it's not just alone, like, if Kate's, like, I don't watch movies with Kate, like, upstairs doing stuff. We're gonna pick a movie that we both wanna watch, and, I just don't prefer to. So it's like when she's out of the house, like, visiting
Yeah, you have
family
to
or
isolate
something,
yourself.
I'm, like, alone when I'm watching scary movies. Anyways, we'll have to talk.
It's
I
fun.
need some Rex. Oh, man. Well, let's dive into this one. The story takes place in upstate New York in the Catskill Mountains, which is the same place as Rip Van Winkle. I don't know if you guys
Really?
remember that one.
Rip
Yep.
I
Van
know
Dude,
Rip.
you know Rip?
I know of Rip, but I didn't know it took place in the Catskills. That's crazy.
Wait, who's
Yep.
Rip?
He's the guy that, like, falls asleep for 20 years. He goes up into the Catskills and then takes a
Falls
nap,
asleep.
and then he comes back, and it's, like, 20 years later, and everybody's like, "Whoa."
He's like an old man. He's like, "Oh, Rip Van Winkle," and they're like, "What a crazy name." He's like, "You should hear what happens when I fall asleep." I don't know. That was
Is
stupid.
this a
Oh,
thing?
you
He
never
has,
heard
like, a
of Rip Van?
real
It's like
Is it a
it's like
person? Is this a story?
it's like along the lines of
It's a fable? Is it like a Paul
yeah,
Bunyan?
it's like a fable. Yeah, it's like a Paul. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like a
Oh.
Paul Bunyan, Johnny Appleseed thing.
Whatever happened to Paul Bunyan? We never talk about him anymore. I feel
We
like he was a
should.
like, he seemed cool. He's got a
He had a
blue cow.
resurgence in the '90s, yeah, but then he
Mm.
Do people
I don't
know
know.
about Paul?
After, he's in the Epstein files, so
Oh.
we don't really
So
talk about him that much. Well, we're in the Catskills. The present day story follows two fishermen exploring the streams and rivers near the Ashokan Reservoir, a massive body of water that was built in the early 1900s by flooding an entire valley. 11 towns were demolished and submerged to create it. The historical story takes place during that construction in the worker camps where thousands of men and their families lived while building the dam. It's a landscape of deep forests, cold rivers, and small towns where people still remember stories they'd rather forget. So, important call out here. This is two stories. One is
Yeah, this is two
happening
stories.
present day, one is happening 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's annoying.
in the Catskills.
I wasn't
It's
happy.
annoying.
When it started to go down the two
Uh-huh.
The
just
other
I 'cause,
story.
we read a lot of books. And I'm an asshole. I started being like, "Oh, this fucking trope. Great. So the whole story's gonna be all spooky and then nothing matters. It's just a story they heard, and then they just go deal with their grief." I was wrong. I was
They
very
tie it
wrong.
together very well.
And it's a very good story.
You
Yeah.
were thinking this dude in a bar is going to tell these guys a spooky story, and then it's going to go back and then just be about their like grief. It's
Yeah,
not going to be
they have a
okay.
nice conversation while they fish about being sad, and then they go home. And I was like,
Yeah.
You know what?
Okay, I
like
can
that
see
sounds-
that.
That sounds pleasant to me. I feel like I would enjoy a book like that. I don't know.
It's like, okay, that was just a crazy ghost story. Anyways,
It's like,
my
now let's
life's
talk about
good.
our feelings. I'd be like, interesting.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I mean, spoiler alert, that's the whole show. Not what happens at the end. Definitely.
Something crazier. Something a shit
There's-
ton
yeah.
crazier.
That was not real. But so I've been through this area
I was
before
gonna
and
ask
heard
you,
about it a bunch. Yeah.
how close is that
Okay.
to where you are in New York?
It's like 4 hours away on, like, the
Oh, damn, that's
train.
a lot farther than I thought.
It's pretty like, New York, it's like the actual state is huge, but I've heard about there's all these, like, tales of towns that are submerged, and then, like, this is the Hudson River Valley is where, like, all the our good buddy Luis was always talking about, his little
Oh,
buddies.
really?
There's a lot of
Oh,
alien activity,
Activity.
and I remember my cousin was dating this guy, and I went out and stayed with them one time in Poughkeepsie, and his dad was crazy and cornered me in the
nice.
kitchen, and we're like, because we were all in the hot tub. I just remember I have to tell this now. We were all in the hot tub, and it was, like, a bunch of, like, her friends and then me, and I was, like, 20, and I, like, get out of the hot tub, and I run in to grab, like, some beers or something from the fridge, and the dad had just come out from his room because he was living with them, and he was like, "Hey, man, careful at night." And I was like, "Oh, what?" And he's like, "Yeah, sometimes there's these orbs that will come down and then, they
Yeah.
make you feel things." And, I see them. I see them a lot. Sometimes there's guys that will be walking around the house late at night, so, once you guys are done, just make sure you stay inside.
Was he dead serious?
Yeah, dead serious.
That's
And I was
insane.
like, "What the shit?"
I didn't realize that that was such a spooky area.
It's a spooky,
Wow.
spooky dooky place. So, of course, that's just where John is basing this off of. So,
Yeah.
naturally, there's
He
some
grew up here.
there's some
Can you imagine
vibes.
what kind of books would you write if you grew up with random orbs coming and making you feel things?
Children's novels.
Children's novels about random orbs.
You gotta deal with your feelings.
The
Yeah.
Orb and the Dorb by John Langan.
Putting understanding when you're just making shit up.
Well, Abe, Abe is our narrator. He's a middle-aged widower who works at IBM and found fishing after his wife Marie died of cancer. He's kind, observant, and still carrying the scars of his loss.
Sweet boy. Sweet, sweet
Sweet
man.
boy. That's a good
Nice
way to
Abe.
put it.
The sweetest boy. He's
Sweet old Abe.
just talking about people's feelings, very observant. And he's just like, "Yeah, I was going," and
Yeah.
then, "Yeah, Dan seems sad. He's got this real deep sadness. Anyways, I was going to work." He's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
sweet boy.
you hear about Abe and you're like, man, he's sweet and he has a really, really sad life and that's terrible. And then you're like, okay, well, meet Dan. Because you think Abe's life is bad. Wait till you
Yeah.
meet Dan.
Dan Drescher, Abe's coworker and fishing buddy, he lost his wife Sophie and his twin sons in a car accident. Where Abe found a way to cope, Dan is stuck, obsessed with his loss and desperate to get his family back.
As you would be if you lost your
Truly.
whole damn family. And so it never, in my opinion, it never made Dan feel dumb for being like, I can't let this go. It's like, well, of course you can't let this go. This is like one of the most horrific things that can happen to a human being.
And we're
Um,
getting it from Abe too, and Abe is just like, I think one of my favorite parts is he's like, "Well, I feel like I had to talk to him because I understand. So, I guess I'll go talk to him." And you're and he, like, it's kind of a chore, but he says it in the sweetest way where he's like, "That's kind of my responsibility. I gotta go talk to Dan. I got a dead wife. He's got a dead wife. It'd be rude not to.
yeah,
So, you wanna go to dinner?"
he just naturally wants to gravitate towards Dan and help him, which is
And
sweet.
and he's so I love how he's just like, "I tried, I failed,
I
and
feel I did a really bad job.
anyways, I'm going back to work."
And doesn't Dan have like a gnarly scar on his face from the car accident?
He does.
And he's just this tall redhead Conan O'Brien looking guy with a massive scar and sad all the time.
Yeah,
That's Dan.
I love
We
it.
also have Howard. And we're going to meet Howard here in a second, but just, laying it out, Howard owns their fishing bar. So it's one of those bars that's for fisher people. And that's what it is. Like there's fish everywhere, and they got the pictures of the biggest catches in the valley and everything. This is a fisherman's place.
They probably got that big mouth bass that sings. It's like, here's a little song I wrote. Did you guys ever see that?
Yeah, I used to
The
love
fish
that.
that
Yeah.
that flips back
Yeah.
and sings to you. I love that shit so
Don't
much.
worry. Be happy.
And be happy. And as a little kid, I'm like, I know it's not
How's he
real,
doing
but
it? And, like, you'd
but it looks real.
wave your hand in front of it just like, "No way.
And he'd move.
You can see me?"
You could see me.
I love those things.
Stupid fish blew my mind.
Howard
Anyway,
owns this bar, and that's all you need to know about him. Let's go back to those fish. Why do you ever wonder, like, some things that exist and are just part of the lexicon, and everybody's like, yeah, of course, those fish. It's like, why though? Like somebody nailed a taxidermied fish to a wooden board in a decorative fashion, and then just said, you know what? It's not quite enough. I want it to bend at 90 degrees and sing a song.
talk to me.
What happened? How
And
did
then
that come
With
to
motion
be?
activation. They were
with
like,
motion
"No way.
activation.
We're gonna use
And
this new
everyone
technology that we only use for, like, security lights. Let's put it in the fish."
and everyone was on board. Everyone who was near any body of water was like, "Absolutely, my home needs one of
Yeah.
these."
Oh, yeah. It's like, it's just the little stuff that just anytime you're depressed, just be like, some guy somewhere was like, "Wouldn't that be fucking cool?"
and made $1 million effing dollars off
Yeah.
this idea.
And the world was like,
Ugh.
"You're right, man. Jenko jeans? Yes."
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it.
Michelangelo, like, believed that the statue he was carving was in the marble and that his job was to just find it, just to, like, get it out, that it was already in there. And, like, Rick Rubin in the Creative Act talks about how, like,
Love
every
that book.
idea was created by the universe and that the idea is put out to a lot of people at the same time. So if you have an idea and you don't act on it creatively, like, somebody else will. The universe will get that thing done. It's just through you. You can participate or not.
I love this in the context of there were 1,000 guys who had this idea of a singing fish that hung up on the wall, and only one of them had the balls to do it, and now he will be remembered forever.
There's an Eduardo Saverin of the fish, of the
Yeah,
bass
there's-
fish.
There's one guy that's just like, "Oh, my son of a bitch, are you kidding me? I have the prototype right here." Yeah.
Kathy, he did my fish idea. I said it was genius. He did it.
She's
Son
like,
of a
"You just
bitch, he
nail
did it."
fish onto boards. That's different."
You never believed in me, Kathy.
No, the only reason that he could do this is because he had money. It's
Yeah.
the system.
He's like, "You just like putting dead fish on things. That's different."
I'm out here with
And then-
gears and dead fish. This guy just bought plastic. It's not the same.
And when he had the revelation, he's like, "The fish doesn't need to be real. It can be plastic." Oh my gosh. Anyway, that's stupid.
I love it.
Okay, I'm glad we like talked about that because yeah, it's crazy. It's just the world. It just makes weird things. Anyways, moving back to the book.
Yeah, so they're at the bar, which has one of these singing fish, no doubt.
No
And-
doubt.
And
And-
that's where Howard's reign is.
And the singing fish
There we
tells
go.
them the story.
No,
and
but that
then
would be freaking
The rest
cool.
of the book
It's just the
proceeds
singing.
out of the mouth.
Told by Big Mouth Bass. Billy the Big Mouth Bass.
Who would be? I have a cast in my head. Maybe not for
Oh yeah,
Howard.
let's cast it. Who are
But-
you thinking?
Right now, I got Abe as Paul Giamatti.
Oh,
Okay,
that's freaking
yes.
good.
Yeah, I
and
love that.
then Dan, I liked Conan O'Brien, but we got to be real.
I don't think that would
The guy who played Ron from Harry Potter.
Rupert Grint.
Rupert
Hell yeah.
Grint.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I'm
it. That's
there.
it.
Because he's like,
Cool.
he'd be funny, sad, and I think,
Yeah,
And then
it's like-
Paul Giamatti. It's great.
that'd be so freaking good. And the ages line up too, I think.
Howard, who's the guy? John Wick, the guy that fixes the cars. That he's like, oh, you fucked up his
Oh, John
dog."
Leguizamo?
Yeah, that guy.
Johnny
Oh,
Legs.
yeah. Okay.
I like that.
That'd be awesome. That's a solid cast.
That's a
I
good
You're
one.
want
gonna
that
go to
be a thing.
Dutchman's Creek. That's fucking crazy,
He's like,
man.
I played Luigi in one of the best adaptations of the Super Mario Brothers. It's like, what?
When we're talking about the human spirit, somebody spent millions of dollars making that movie. Watch it. It's amazing.
They're like, what if King Koopa was just a
Was just-
bald rich guy
Just
and there
Dennis
was
Hopper.
just Dennis Hopper and there's goo everywhere?
Yeah, and one of the main characters' fathers is Goo. And there's a
What
scene
if-
where she talks to him. She's
She
like,
talks
that's my
to the
father.
Goo. And Yoshi is a real ass raptor.
He's just a velociraptor. And guess what? It's, what's his name? Oh, what is
The
the
guy who
guy's
plays
name?
Mario?
That's his name, Bob Hoskins. It's
Bob
the,
Hoskins just
It's the guy
hating
from
life the
Who
whole
Framed
time.
Roger Rabbit and, I don't know, John Leguizamo. They're the
the guy who did
Mario
Sit
brothers.
the Sloth. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, sorry, we're so off track.
Sorry.
that's okay. That's a real movie. We're not making that up. It sounds like something we would, but that's real. Well, Abe's wife. Okay, Abe's wife Marie died of ovarian cancer after a 2-year battle. After her death, Abe fell apart. He stopped going to work, stopped eating properly, spent months drinking on his couch. Then one day, he woke up with an overwhelming urge to go fishing. He'd never fished before, but he bought a rod and taught himself. On the river, he started to feel something like peace. Sometimes he even thought he felt Marie's presence, like she'd somehow guided him to fishing to get over her. A year later, Abe mentioned fishing to Dan, a coworker who had recently lost his family. They started fishing together, but Dan wasn't healing the same way that Abe did. He was getting worse, spending late nights staring at the traffic light they built at the intersection after his family was killed at that intersection. Then, Dan suggested they try a new spot, Dutchman's Creek. When they stopped at a diner, this is Howard's diner, and mentioned where they were headed, Howard went pale and insisted on telling them why they shouldn't go there.
Yeah, Abe and Dan were like they were solid fishing buddies for a bit, and then Dan kind of fell apart, and he
But, like,
like got drunk,
not
and
like buddies, though. They're like
they were like acquaintances who were just like
companions. They just do it
yeah,
together. Yeah.
companions in their grief who were fishing together to fish together. But then like Dan had a breakdown one night and said probably more than he felt he should have. He just expressed his grief. He was embarrassed by it. They stopped hanging out, and then randomly Dan's like, "Hey, I found
Yeah.
a new spot." And so Abe's kind of like, "Oh, I didn't know you wanted to fish with me anymore, but okay, cool. Yeah, let's try this new spot."
Which I'd be annoyed. I'd be like, "That's my thing." Like, I brought you to my thing to be nice to you. You were a dick, and now you're trying to take my thing, be like, "Oh, I found us a new spot." I'll find us a new spot. Get fucked, Dan.
But that's the difference between you and Abe. Abe is just like, "Oh, neat, a new spot, more spots to fish. Cool. It's kind of weird, but I'm
Yeah.
down."
I mean, that he's being a nicer person. It's probably
But
trauma
yeah,
or
part of me
something.
would be like, "I find the fishing spots, Dan. Stay in your own lane, dude."
I mean, like, oh, okay, sorry. We can go to your spot. That's how I would respond to that line
No,
of questioning.
no, but
Um,
Abe's loving it. Abe's like, "Cool."
Mac, you nailed it. Abe's very he's a very good guy, and he's also the narrator. So this is written from Abe's perspective, and it is sort of Lovecraftian at this part. Like it's
Mm.
does the cosmic horror thing, and I thought, okay, are we gonna do this the whole book? But he does have like Dan and I were not prepared for the horrific events about to unfold. Anyways, the next day, yeah, he's really hitting that, and I'm like, okay, I hope we find out what actually unfolds here. But also, he approaches him with fishing like fishing helped me, but I'm not gonna say it like that. I'm not gonna say you're grieving. When I was grieving, fishing helped. You should fish. He's just like, hey, if you like to fish, I'm going out Wednesday. And then
Yeah,
he's just sort of hoping that it works, and it seems to work. And then it's in the off season that he sees like Dan really start to go downhill. So it's a new fishing season. And he's like, okay, we'll see. Like, Dan's been slacking off at work. He's probably going to get fired. Like, he's not looking good. And then out of the blue, Dan comes in. He's like, Dutchman's Creek, let's go there.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
And
Abe's
so they
just
go to
is
Dutchman's
just
Creek.
such a sweet man.
Yeah,
He's so
Abe is
sweet.
sweet.
Well, Howard now has gone pale and said, you're going where now? And his story begins in
Also,
the 1840s.
Sorry.
This part.
This part's good, but so Howard's like, "Where'd you hear about Dutchman Creek?" And Dan's like, "I
Oh,
read it
yeah.
in a book somewhere." He's like, "No, you didn't." He's like, "What book? Tell me about the book." He's like, "It's a book about the area." He's like, "I don't believe you." Like,
I
he's
got a
just
I got a
calling
shelf
Dan
over
out on
here.
his shit.
Go pick out the book.
He's like, "Pick out the book. Tell me exactly where you found it." Like, he calls him on it, and Dan's like, "It was in a book. Just leave me alone. It was in a book." And then Howard's like, "I'm about to blow your effing mind." And he sits down and tells him the story. We're only like 4 or 5 chapters in, and like
3.
you're
Yeah, yeah,
invested
yeah.
in the Dan and Abe story, but then it's like, here's a different story.
We're gonna be here a while. Yeah, it
Yeah.
stays this for like with the middle 2/3 of the book,
Of the
middle
book,
half
yeah.
at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going back now to the 1840s. A stranger in a black suit rides into the valley, speaking broken English with a German accent. He goes straight to the estate of Cornelius Dort, the wealthiest man in the area whose young wife was dying. The stranger moved into the house. Within days, the wife was dead, and Cornelius showed no grief at all. For decades after, strange things happened around the Dort estate. Unusual storms would gather directly over the house. Cornelius lived well past 100 years old, as if death couldn't touch him. When he finally did die, his face frozen in an expression of horror, the stranger emerged to claim the entire estate. The man, who should have been elderly by this time, still looked the same as he did when he rode into the valley, around about 40 years old.
I don't okay. Maybe it's some sort of power that these people have, like when you experience something that you can't explain, you can't act normally. Get the fuck out of my house.
This is the second book we read where a guy just kind of shows up and he's like, "Your house is mine now." It was Wuthering Heights, and now this, and
Oh,
it's like,
yeah.
and both guys were just like, "Okay,
Yeah,
okay, I don't love it, but I guess you can have my giant ass house."
in the 1800s, you could just roll up on somebody and be like, "Can you fight?" No?
No,
All right. That's mine. This
that's
is
cool.
my
That's
house now.
mine.
That's my name.
Also, I love the name Dort. I just feel like that's something you would call someone. You Dort.
You fucking dort.
You Dort. So yeah, the stranger shows up, and I like how the townspeople they're not doing anything about it. They're just like, "That's weird. It's weird that this guy showed up."
But I
And
guess it's also
Yeah.
like the violence back then is also so much worse because like if you get stabbed, you did like die. You know,
yeah,
like
you
it-
like get sepsis and die.
yeah.
So they're just minding their business as they should, because a lot of these people are immigrants. who have notoriously had a great time in America, and so they're just hanging out, doing their best, keeping to themselves.
Also, Cornelius Dort is extremely powerful, and you don't really like question
I
him
guess,
or
yeah.
like go digging. He
You're like,
he,
"What's going
he
on, Dort?"
owns everything. He is like the Ebenezer Scrooge of the town, and they're like, he's just not dying. And then people kept seeing this woman in black hanging around, like where he would go and at the house and stuff. And they were like, who is that woman in black? That's roughly the same height and girth
Girth.
as his dead wife.
She has the
say
same girth
girth?
as his wife. Do not ask me how I know her girth, but I know it. I know she has the same girth.
I
And the guy's
recognize
wife
that
is like,
girth.
he's like, why do you know her girth? I just know her girth. Don't question it.
The story jumps to 1907. All right, so a little bit forward. We're inching back to present day here, turn of the century. Rainer Schmidt, a former professor who came to America after some kind of scandal in Germany. He was a professor there, and he was unceremoniously dismissed, and we don't really know why at this point. He arrived at the reservoir construction camp with his family and took work as a stonemason. One evening, a Hungarian woman named Helen walked directly into the path of racing mule carts. She was badly injured and died hours later. Because it was a suicide, the church buried her outside the cemetery. Her husband, George, disappeared after the funeral. Days later, George came back in the middle of the night yelling and waking everybody up and saying he had a miracle to show everyone. In George's house sat Helen, alive. Her body was still broken from the accident, and her skin was deadly pale, but she was moving and speaking. The difference was her eyes glowed gold. George kept talking about a man in a big house who understood suffering and could give you back what you lost. Within a week, George was dead, convulsing and vomiting black water filled with strange tadpole kind of creatures. Helen began visiting others in the camp.
So creepy that this guy's like, my wife's back. She's alive. And it's like, she's still pretty effed up, dude. Like, she should not be alive. She's got broken bones. Her eyes are gold. Also, she's wet all the time for some reason. It's like she's just always moist. And I'm not making that up. That's part of it.
That's because George has got that thing on him. Pleasing women is different for everybody. Okay. Let's get real, guys. You guys are married. I got my little piece. I love you, Tiffany. That was a horrible way to refer to you.
Leaving it in.
Sorry, bud.
Yeah, I'm just walking into a minefield of my own creation. I'm like, what did I do?
It's already done.
Oh, why'd I do it in circles around me?
What were you going to say about Tiffany?
If you guys, let's say, God forbid, bing, bang, boop, they're gone, right?
Hit by a mule cart.
Hit by a mule cart. It's like, where'd those mules come from? How fast were they going? Did she not see them?
Who has a mule?
Who's got mules?
No one around here owns a mule.
Where the fuck did this mule come from?
How are there so many mules? They can't reproduce.
Yeah.
It's a whole industry.
Who's
factory
making
just
these
cranking out
mules?
mules?
They just got a male
Continue.
donkey and a female horse. And
Here's the thing. We're going to get to big mules someday. Okay, we're going to take those fuckers down brick by brick.
I met a Belgian mule once, which was roughly the size of an elephant, and it was the most majestic thing I've ever seen.
I like that you refer to it as met to. I like that you met it. Like you had a dinner with this mule. You guys sat down for some grass and
we hung out. I took a picture with him.
That's
it was
cool.
a great time. Look up Belgian mules. They're so big.
Is it
Continue,
just a horse?
Matt. You were saying
No, it's a mule.
our wives are dead.
So your wives are dead. Your wife shows back up, wet, fucked up, got creatures in her. A, are you telling people? B, are you happy about it? And C, what do you do?
Ooh.
We can go around the horn.
Okay, first off, I don't go tell all my neighbors immediately like this guy did.
Weird.
Yeah.
I kind of sit with that for a bit, and I try to process what the hell's going on. I just would have so many questions. I'd be like, so you crawled out of your grave. Like, that's how you got here, right? Like, because you were in a box in the ground, and now you're in my living room. Walk me through that process. I would just be so curious because I'd be like, how'd you get here?
I know that this is the wrong answer, but I would I'd kill it. I'd be like, get it. That's not my wife.
I mean, well, nobody really knows what to do. It's actually a
Of
good
course they
segue
don't know
because
what to do.
nobody knows.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, what the hell? What? And so they're like, well, you can't take care of these children. That's not going to fly. So they
You're a
take
dead
in the
person.
kids. And Rainer's family and friends kind of like have custody of the kids. And Helen visits their homes and like pounds on the doors and like demands to be let in. It's super creepy. obviously Helen's husband is gone. He exploded into tadpoles. And they're
Which
like,
is
we don't know.
another
There's like a
crazy-
zombie just like walking around in our town. Yeah. So that's happening.
Yeah. She attacks the kids every night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she attacks him every night after her husband ate a shit ton of tadpoles, and then, "Why'd you do that, George?" And then throw them all up in black bile. It's a very unpleasant experience for people who are already having a hard time working at a camp. I don't freaking know.
Yeah, imagine you're an immigrant, you're working in a camp, and now we gotta do zombies.
Now you got
Hey,
zombies
are you kidding
attacking
me?
the children?
I gotta
This was
feed
an
these
interesting
kids and
extra kids is enough. There is a zombie. Yeah, every zombie, I feel like movie and story, there's like lots of them. This is the first one
Yeah.
I've read where it's like there's just one zombie.
Yeah.
And it's less of a hey, board up your windows and grab your shotguns and we're gonna handle this. And it's more of like a social dilemma where they're like, what do we do with the zombie mom?
I don't think we can
Do
just
we
kill it. It's
invite
their
her to the
mom.
baby shower?
No,
Yeah.
seriously, they're just like, "What do we do with this? Like, we wanna be nice, but, like, she can't be around people."
Do you think she's gonna make it awkward at the wedding?
Yeah, the
So Helen does finally corner Lottie, who is Rayner's teenage daughter. She's at work. She works at like the general store at the camp. She corners her in a dark storage closet there at work and starts speaking a language that's not really a language, but it like opens up Lottie's mind to this vision where she's standing on the shore of a black ocean. And the water is filled with thousands of floating heads, all whispering their darkest, most vile secrets. She sees a version of herself among them, confessing things she'd never admitted to anyone, like that she's attracted to her dad's best friend. That's a fun one.
Yeah, she's,
The-
like, having pornographic fantasies about him, and she's like,
Yeah.
"I don't want this, but, like,
But
maybe
how'd you
deep down
know?"
I do. How'd you know? Who told you that?"
Yeah. The water begins to rise, and something enormous emerges from below, a mouth filled with teeth the size of buildings coming up from the depths that had no bottom. Lottie manages to break free of the vision and like ward Helen off, but Helen's words stayed with her. He waits, girl.
Such an unpleasant experience for poor little Lottie. First, you're encountered by a zombie, and then dead heads are telling you the thoughts you have been trying to ignore your whole life. And then she's like, "He's coming for you." She's like, "Who? Who is he? What was this monster in the ocean?" I don't know.
It's annoying.
What is that?
Yeah.
What is that?
Wait,
It's
what's annoying? What do you mean?
That would be annoying. I'd be like, what the fuck?
Oh,
are you
yeah.
talking- Who
I'd
was
be like, I'm
he?
annoyed by.
Use
I'm annoyed
names.
by this.
Nouns. Lady, you're already a zombie and you're whispering all this nonsense. You can't say Jeff is waiting for me. Yeah, he waits, girl. Who, bitch? Who?
Spell it out for me.
Say his
Heart.
name.
I know you can talk.
I'll get him.
People talk about honesty,
It's the best policy.
and honesty is like it is the best policy. And I've got like a whole thing about honesty. Don't need to get into the whole thing, but I'm like I'm for it. I'm pro honesty. But there's too much honesty. You could be honest about like I just feel like if everybody was honest about what was going on in their head, we'd think everybody was schizophrenic. Do you
Totally.
not feel that way? I'm like,
No,
if I was just
absolutely.
like stream of consciousness saying what was happening, people would be like, "You're a freak."
You're a mess.
You-
But
You're a
I'm like,
bad
I
person.
gotta think everybody's like that, and that we're doing what's appropriate with our mouths.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the crazy
Which
thing
is
about
shut
certain
Yeah.
certain types of OCD like will attach onto someone, and the thoughts that we all have that we kind of just push aside because we're like, that's horrifying, that's ridiculous. OCD will be like, okay, but what if it's all you think about and it's who you
Mhm.
identify as? And
Mhm.
so there are some forms of OCD which are just horrendous because they just are constantly bringing that to light. But then when you think about it, it's like everyone has these thoughts. Some people just have a chemical component in their brain that make it easier to just be like, no, that's not me.
Yeah.
But everyone's messed up.
Yeah.
No.
And it's
Oh
also-
man, yes.
It's the thing I hate on like a lesser scale, the devil's advocate thing, where people
Oh.
are like, okay, well, let me just play devil's advocate here. And it's like, you don't, or like, I'm just telling the truth. And if you can't handle it, blah, 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 blah. No, it's like, that's not generous or kind as much as you
Yeah.
think it is.
Mm.
You're just imparting your truth upon people,
Yeah,
you know?
that's a
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah, and intent matters so much because I think sometimes people need a little devil's advocate, but like me saying that, I don't really have the right to necessarily say that. It's like, am I trying to help someone with this because they believe something that is going to hurt them, or I think it might? and
Yeah,
I'm
if
approaching it with generosity.
if their head's in the sand, but, like, if you're
Yeah.
like, "I really don't like X, Y like this person," and somebody's like, "Devil's advocate, maybe they don't like you." It's like, you're useless. Like, that's not
Yeah.
a helpful
Yeah.
thing. You're not
I don't
adding. That's not an
I don't
add.
think
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. No one
Right.
has ever said devil's advocate and then said something beneficial ever, I don't think.
Devil's
Um,
advocate, sometimes people need to correct my, like, I'm set on a course of action and very set on it. And then they're like, hey, have you tried maybe chilling out and just letting it ride?
But that's not devil's advocate. If you
that's
say the
yeah.
term devil's advocate,
Yeah, that's what I'm
here's
saying.
the
It's
thing. That's a bad thing, you know?
You think
Like,
so? Because
yeah,
it's the devil?
it's the devil.
You
In
guys
the
are going to get
language
all freaky with Satanism on me.
yeah,
well, no, it's
but
just a
no, no,
generic term we've decided is not good.
but that's the terminology means bad take. Right? Like, that is what like, let me be on the bad guy's side. That's what the
Yeah.
thing means. So it's
No, it
not
is.
helpful unless it's in a situation like, unless you're, like, gonna hurt yourself and, like, you're freaking out and somebody's like, "Devil's advocate, maybe you need to sit down." But they'll just
Yeah,
tell
but
you, "You don't need to say devil's advocate."
no one yeah.
Just
They would never
bothered by
say
the
devil's advocate in that situation. They would just help you because that's what
Okay.
human beings do.
Yes.
Got
I
it.
think people should start saying angel's advocate, you smell nice today. Angel's advocate, I think your hat looks wonderful.
Or if you wanna go right down the middle,
Well
Oprah's advocate. You look okay.
You look good.
You're
You're
fine.
not.
You're fine. Yeah.
Also, angel is like, if we were saying demon's
No,
advocate,
it's
angel's advocate,
true.
like, I think you need to say
God's
God's
advocate.
God's
advocate.
advocate? Yeah, but then you just sound like a crazy person.
But it's weird that the fact that devil's advocate is such a common phrase, that's insane.
Yeah, that's insane. It's
weird.
like are you literally an advocate for the devil right now?
But
Have you been possessed by a evil force and you're advocating
And
for
you're
him? when
advocating
you're
for
saying
the
this to
evil
me?
force, the
That'd be
epitome of
metal.
evil. But then,
Yeah.
but then on the other side, if somebody's like God's advocate, you'd be like, shut up,
Yeah.
get out of here with that. Who are you? What are you, nerd?
I think
Ew.
we're on the same page about the phrase devil's advocate. I do think we've reached a consensus here.
Sorry,
and
yeah,
that's
we went on
wonderful.
a whole tangent. But
No.
yes,
Honesty. What I'm saying though, like, sorry, I don't mean to be like, back to what I was fucking
That's
saying.
okay. I want to hear it.
I think sometimes we mistake what we present to other people and the words that we say and sort of the identity that we create with what is ourself,
Mhm.
And the truth is like, we overlap, like the Venn diagram of individuals, people overlap like 2%. There's so much happening in your inner world and experience and stuff that's like, there's no even words for. There's not even close to words for,
Yeah.
which I don't know. This is my second stoner thought of the day. I'm realizing it's just one of those days. But it's just crazy tying back to the book. If somebody opened up somehow and was saying words or whatever, or like showed what's really going on in my head to me, I'd be like, I'd be extremely uncomfortable and freaked out by that. That would be more
Absolutely.
horrifying than like any Pennywise or anything that I could see.
Well, that's what
It's like-
Pennywise does, right? That's his whole thing.
Does he?
That's
I don't
his-
know Pennywise well enough to know.
That's his, you
He
guys
kinda
haven't
does
seen
that,
it?
doesn't he?
Yeah, he's just like whatever
Yeah,
your
he's kinda
deepest
like-
fears are, and he just becomes it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like, I know
That's
the
why he's
things in your
scary.
head.
Yeah.
That's freaky right
Which
there.
here's the thing, and it's probably not healthy. I heard it on Dan Harmon's podcast. He said it the best, where it's like, you can't shoot me through a hole I've already shot myself with or in. If you're living honest to yourself, then you don't have to worry about somebody being like, "Ooh, what's going on?"
Can you ever really live honesty yourself though? Like, can you ever be?
I mean, you define it. The world's made up.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. It's all an illusion. So you might have like a healthier,
relationship?
do you not have things that are like even deeper than that where you're like,
yeah.
there are
They-
just things like, the intrusive thoughts and stuff that pop
I don't
out.
believe
you're
that.
like, I don't even want to acknowledge.
I feel like I would just be like, "There's demons in here, buddy. We've been hanging out together."
Nice.
up?
Dude, I envy
Interesting.
that
it's-
perspective. That's nice.
I don't think you've gone deep enough.
Well,
kidding.
maybe, but I
I'm
think
just
it's all.
kidding.
But
That's
Devil's advocate. You
Devil's
haven't gone deep
advocate.
enough.
God's advocate, get fucked. But but it's. I mean, it's the
But
whole.
it's different for everyone.
It's a different for everybody, and like maybe there is, but it's like that idea of like that's what shadow work is, right?
That's true. I think
nice.
for Lottie,
She's
A
not doing a lot
young-
of self help.
she's not doing a lot of
No.
shadow work, but she's
She
like
didn't.
she's a teenage girl, probably brought up in a very Christian, shame-based environment, and so when whatever this is telling her you have fantasies about your dad's buddy, and you wanted to drown your sister at one point, she's like, "That's the worst thing anyone could ever tell me because it's
Yeah.
true."
Yeah,
It's
but also
catastrophic.
but you can't. I mean, it's back in that time. You don't identify with your fucking dark thoughts just because you
Yeah,
thought
no one
you.
told her that though.
Oh
No
my
one
god,
told her
the
that
amount of
thoughts are just
times I was
thoughts.
like, I could swerve off the freeway and I could probably hit like 3 or 4 or 5. How many houses could I like get through? You
Yeah.
have those thoughts, it's fine. That doesn't make me a bad person. It's just fucking
No.
weird
Because it doesn't
But
come
that's like
out
a
on the
new thing though.
outside.
Yeah.
because you're not
And
acting on it.
yeah, and in
Yeah,
some
and
ways,
so
don't you feel like somebody seeing inside sort of makes it real? Maybe? I don't know. We're maybe getting
Maybe
like
not.
too deep on this, but
No,
yeah,
but
no,
it's
I
fun.
see what you're saying.
But
No,
it
it
connects
does.
because it's like that the deeper thing of like this book is like, would you be tempted by something that can like see your evil that's in you or
yeah.
like the worst parts of you? What would that temptation be? How would you handle it? It's just it's such the childish. It's like no, but I already did it. She's like, you're afraid of this, and I'm like, yeah, I already thought about how afraid I was. Get out of here. I've been staring in this mirror for a long time. You just got here, Helen.
It's the 8 Mile rap at the end where he's like, "I
Yeah, that's what
am
I thought
white.
when you
I am a
yeah.
bum."
When you said the Dan Harmon thing, I thought of that. I'm like,
There
"Oh,
you
it's
go.
Eminem. It's the
Yeah,
end of 8 Mile."
it's
Yeah.
the whole thing of like the whole Eminem thing of just like you can't make fun of me if I've already done it.
Yeah.
There you go.
So if I've already admitted that I love having fantasies about, my dad's buddy, BFD, Helen,
Yeah,
if I knew I wanted to drown my sister when she was a baby, who cares? I admit it. Like,
yeah. I didn't, Helen. Did you do anything
I didn't,
cool?
yeah, I
I
didn't
didn't
take
do that
action on
shit.
it.
How
Had an
about
intrusive thought, let it pass.
there you go. Take 2 of
You're a
these.
zombie, Helen.
Also,
Your
you're supposed to
bones
be
are
dead.
broken.
Helen, you couldn't even keep yourself alive. So I'm not too
Yeah.
worried about your mystical things you're saying. Get out of
Yeah.
here.
You just you're in
Watch
like
where you're
a
Yeah, did you not hear the mules? They're large animals.
Yeah, you
Did you
didn't
not
see the mules. You couldn't do this the first go round. Don't think you're gonna get me on round
Don't
2.
you can't get me. Oh, that's not how Lottie reacts. That would be hilarious though.
Yeah, Lottie freaks out, but
Lottie
she
hates
keeps
life.
her composure and she does like ward her off basically. And then she is sick. She got like infected with something. She got some of the darkness inside of her and she goes home and she falls into a coma. Of course, Rainer, he's like working at the site and somebody comes and tells him and he dashes off and he goes home. And this is when we find out that Rainer knows more about what's going on than he's let on here.
Rainer knows
So,
a lot of weird shit that's really cool.
Mhm.
yeah.
And
Ra-
Rainer also, like, he was a professor in Germany, and he's working with all these stonemasons, and now he's had to become a stonemason. So he kind of thinks he's better than everyone intellectually. And you could make an argument. I mean, he's
He
much
probably
more
is
well
smarter.
informed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
smarter.
But yeah, it's just an interesting dynamic because like his best friends are stonemasons, and he's like, I have no one I can talk to
Yeah.
about the stuff I used to with my university professors, and so now we get a glimpse into Rainer, which was very interesting.
Yeah. So back in Germany, before his disgrace, he had studied these languages. And his goal was to find the oldest language possible and figure out how it was pronounced phonetically. And just he and his partner were trying to go back as far as they could to discover the earliest possible language. And they happened upon some ancient texts written in a language so old that they found out how to pronounce some of the words, and they spoke the word for uh, was it darkness or light? I think it
Darkness
was dark.
first.
Yeah, they spoke the word for darkness, and like all the lights go out. Like all of the light is just drained from the world, and then they speak the word for light, and it comes back, and they're like, "Oh, so these are magic words." And then they get really into that, and they start to like explore and decode this language. It leads them to find this. This is the part with that Mac was talking about with the lore that it just
Yeah.
offhand mentions and
Yeah.
then doesn't explain. They find this like city with this pyramid that's like this lost city and they have to go do a thing there and they do it and they sort of feel like, oh, what are we messing with? And then his partner just dies, and he carries that weight and he's trying to explain what happened to his partner and everybody's like, you are crazy. You got to get out of here. So that's sort of the disgrace that they've been talking about.
And they do it it's quick. It's like
It is quick.
it does like it's not like a story within a story like, oh, now we got to hear this guy go on this whole thing. Like he tells it in this
Yeah.
very haunted just like, all right, so I learned a language. We went to this city. My buddy died. We're in trouble.
Yeah, he's like, we
Yeah.
met these people who like oversee the language and who study it. They let us in. They gave us a task. we went to the city and we came back and my buddy just like died mysteriously. And the whole time I'm like, tell me more about this shit. This is crazy.
But
Like a lost ci
I like
it's
just a
really
little
cool,
give
but
me a little dab. I like a
yeah,
dab.
but
Yeah.
I think because it's a dab, it's good because it could have not been great if you just went way too much into it.
Yeah.
Because it leaves you wanting more, but you're just like, man, this Rainer guy's crazy. He's been through some weird shit.
Oh, I loved it, uh, because there's nothing like this is so you guys like Miyazaki films, like Spirited Away
Sure.
and Princess Mononoke. You seen these?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about?
I'm not a
Yeah.
hard liner.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah, neither am I. I think they're great, and I appreciate them, but
I respect them. They're beautifully made. I want there
The
to
yeah,
be a
scene
million of them.
you don't want there to be
I
a
know I
million of
do.
them?
I'm like,
You do?
make 10 million of those.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, 100%. So, in Spirited Away, when she gets on the train
Mhm.
and you're going on this train and, like, these shadow people keep getting on and off, and she's looking out the window and you see, like, an island house with just a clothesline with, like, clothes blowing in the wind, and there's nothing next to it at all, no roads up to it, and you're passing stuff like that, and then you end up at this, like, marshy town with this hut and this witch lady. Like, all of that happens in this sequence with this beautiful soundtrack, and obviously the art is amazing, but it's like people love that scene, and it's sort of like a revered scene because you're like, this the whole point of this scene is to be like, this world that we're in right now is humongous. There is tons of it. We're gonna show you parts of it, not explain any of them, and then just let your imagination fill in all these gaps or try to of like, what is this giant, crazy world that we're in? And I feel like nothing does that like a lost city that you don't explain. They're like, we went to this city, there were some people, then we came back. I'm like, there's a city? Are there
yeah.
other cities? Yeah.
But
It is
it
crazy.
always goes to like I maybe it's like a Joe Rogan idea, but I like the idea that like back in the day, things were a lot less malleable because our consciousness was different. So like you didn't not to say that you could like, I don't know, mold this candle into like knife just by touching it or something. But like things were there was like something with our perception of reality was just different, right? And so like
Huh.
there was words that could affect things and like things were just a lot
Oh.
more connected and tangible and like it was a little bit more of a woo woo crazy like not that you have like I don't know. I think of like the old the old like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon or something, or it's like there's these mystical arts because back in like in olden times you could connect to the world in a different way, and so like you could do all these crazy things because of that, and like we just lost that as time went on because we just slowly like disconnected from it. And so anytime it comes up in anything, I'm just like, fuck yeah. Like this
There's
is that's
even
what I like.
yeah.
That's the shit I like.
There's even like part of his quest, him and his colleague is they wanted to find the words that Adam and Eve spoke, and that made me think of like a deep cut in Mormonism where there's a wording that Joseph Smith used, and he's like, yeah, that's the language Adam and Eve spoke. Um, and he says the word Adamondiam, and like that's everywhere. That's everywhere. That's like if you go back far enough, you're gonna find this language that has these crazy powers and this
Yeah.
like and so because of how I was raised in that specific thing, I'm like, oh, I can see that in the culture I was raised in. But you're right, Mac. It's all over.
It's
Um,
in every
yeah,
real like
every culture you go back and even like Tolkien, the whole idea is that Lord of the Rings
that's like the
happened.
past.
Yeah, that was the past. We were more in tune with the world and how we interacted with the world. We were more in tune with it, and then we lost it over time.
And all the special people left to the Grey Gardens or
The
whatever,
Grey
Yeah.
the
Havens.
Grey Havens.
Man, Chuck, one more benefit of being raised Mormon is you got massive exposure to like folk magic that you didn't
Yeah,
realize was that, and then
yeah.
you read this stuff and you're like, it sounds oddly familiar.
You're like,
It's just
Wait,
fun. It's just fun to
Well,
have been raised
yeah.
by
I
people that are
agree.
telling you this is all real, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
there's a
then you
guy who
find
just
out it's like,
made a
what?
new language, with some shit
Yeah.
in the woods, and you're just like,
Well,
"Yeah,
and it's but it's
Objectively awesome, by the way. Like,
anything can
set
happen."
aside all of the harm or anything else, whatever you believe about it. That's just a cool thing to
Yeah,
think is
it's
real.
interesting.
I don't
Yeah.
like it, but the idea that some podunk weird hillbilly was in the woods and was just like, "Yibba-dabba," and like there's a thing now, like there's a new religion now. I'm like, that's sick. It's sick.
I
It's
I
cool.
I think I don't know, it just it's a cool way to grow up believing, like, that there are mysteries in the world that
Yeah.
we can't comprehend and we don't understand, and that maybe someday I will understand a language that is the ones that the first humans spoke.
It's cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think
And,
it's
like,
cool.
the Indiana Jones thing of, like, every now and again, you just touch a little bit of something that's just out of this world, and
Too
it's just
big.
you're just like,
Mhm.
"Wow."
Yeah.
Anyways.
Rayner, so he's got history with this and he's seeing a lot of this stuff and just thinking, oh, wait, she was speaking a language that you hadn't heard before. And what, you saw a black ocean? And he remembers that from like when he went to this lost city. So he's like, okay, we're dealing with whatever it was that we were messing with in Germany. And so he opens up again his forbidden books and works through the night to try and understand what's happening. He carves strange symbols into the walls of Helen's house and on like a dinner knife and kind of takes a mob to her place. The symbols also, like people bystanders will say the symbols look like they're moving and like they look like letters, but also pictures. Anyway, it's kind of fun.
Mhm.
He gathers a group of men with axes, leads them to confront her. Uh, they find her standing in a pool of black water, mold covering every surface. Rayner demands to know who her master is. She tells him, Der Fisher, the fisherman. She says he was trying to catch something called Leviathan, which Rayner recognizes immediately. It's it's described in the Bible in the book of Job
Yeah, that's a
as
big
this
one.
like giant monster, right?
Mhm. Sea
Um,
monster, yeah.
Right. So he's asking her all these fishing related questions like, has he set the hooks and has he woven the lines? And she's telling him the answers, right? So his fishing lines are made from dead men's hair. His hooks are forged from dead king's swords. Rayner raises the knife and like plunges it in the door and sort of seals her in the house where she's presumably destroyed.
It's such a cool sequence.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's just gonna get cooler, but that whole thing where he has just enough knowledge to get the information from her and like I said, background of us growing up in a Christian denomination, like, Leviathan was like a spooky, weird thing. It's like, "Is that real? Were they alluding to a real thing in the Bible, in the book of Job?" And so now they're like, "Yeah, he found it. He's going after it. This crazy guy is gonna capture this mysterious being."
This stuff I just ride this line of I really love
Mm.
the little dabs, the lore. I was a little bit like, of course, Rainer knows what's going on.
Yeah,
But it did
yeah.
this part I kind of started to separate from the book a little bit,
The
because
Leviathan stuff.
I was just like, "Okay, so let's get through this because it starts to feel convenient.
Really?
But it's interesting, and like we said, like, we were raised to, like, be fascinated by this stuff, like, we're just lore freaking nerds. We're also just nerds. The more I was just kinda like, "Alright, let's start wrapping this up. Let's get back to Abe," and
You
because
wanted to
it's
get to Abe.
yeah, I
Interesting.
Back
just
to Abe.
because yeah, I started to be like, "Alright, we know this is a story, so how's this gonna relate to everything?"
Yeah.
But it's cool. It is cool, and it's really interesting visuals, and the prose, like you were saying, Evan, is great. So, like, you're never bored. You're never, like, having a bad time, but it's like, "Alright, we get
But
it."
you do wonder,
Like,
you're
"What's
like,
going on with these
how
guys?"
yeah, how does this tie back to Dan and Abe? Because this is pretty far off from where we were.
And
Um,
it is a dense there's its
it is a
own
dense
book
section, yeah.
that happens, but it's good, and I'm in.
Mhm.
Which I think it was a fun little like writing exercise to be
Yeah.
like, here's two guys. They're totally normal. They're about to go to a place where you know shit's gonna happen. We're gonna go back and describe like a very expansive, lore heavy, dark magic landscape. And the whole time, it was just great because the whole time I'm thinking, what is gonna happen to
Yeah,
Dan
I'm
and
Yeah.
like,
Abe?
"What is the point of
How
this?
what does
Where is this
Rainer have
going?"
to do with Abe?
And
Like
you
any
also kinda
number
forget
of
you're just reading that book at that like, I kinda started just
Yeah.
being like,
different.
"This is what it's about."
Nah.
Yeah, yeah, but I don't know, something about, like, it's teasing you because at the end, you know, like, some of this stuff's gonna factor in, you don't know what, but you're like, "How are we gonna tie in, like, black magic and giant monsters and lost cities to, like, these 2 guys on a fishing trip? This is gonna
Seriously.
be crazy."
This is wild.
So Rayner knows, just kind of wrapping up this part. We're going to come back next week and finish with part two. Rayner knows Helen was just a pawn and her master's still out there in that house on the hill, casting his lines into waters darker than any ocean on earth, trying to unearth something that existed before the world began. Next time, we're going to talk about Rayner leading his men through a door that opens into impossible worlds. They'll see the Black Ocean for themselves, and they'll learn what happens when you try to stop a man who has spent centuries fishing for a god.
It's so cool. It's like the
It's
title is
very
The
cool.
Fisherman,
It
and
is
you meet
very
these
cool.
guys who are fisher, and you're like, oh, it's about these guys. No, it's about a guy who is fishing for a god. That's what this book is about. It's insane. Like first it's a book about grief, and then now it's a high fantasy. What is happening?
More stuff should do
Yeah.
that, you know?
Yeah.
Sneak, if all of a sudden something's a sci-fi, I'm like, all right, why not? Fuck it.
Why
It is
not?
a
Sure.
bit of a cheat code, honestly, because if you start a book in the world that the reader lives in, and then you tell a story that's kind of relatable, they're like, "Oh, I'm like this," and then you go to high fantasy, then you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, that would be so cool if that was real."
That
But if you
rips.
start with a
Yeah.
wizard, you're kind of like, "Okay, I'm reading a
It's
fantasy."
like,
Yeah.
okay, I got to deal with this wizard.
That's why Pokemon was so successful, because you just started off with this annoying little kid, and then he's like, "Oh, I catch monsters," and you're like, "That could be me one day."
I want to catch
Oh
monsters.
yeah.
And turns out that little kid was Chris Hansen.
He grew up to be Chris.
Yeah, he changed his
Gotta
name.
catch them all, dude.
He's like, I'm going to get all these sons of bitches one way
And
or
that's
another.
his tactic. He's like in the grass looking for like a Pidgeotto, and he's like, looking at your chat logs, I think you might be here. I don't. That's
Yeah, because when he was young, he would go out and he'd go into the woods and he'd try to hunt them. And he's like, I need to get them to come to me.
how do I lure them to me?
How do I get them to
with
me?
miners and pizza?
You visit him at his house. He's got a shelf of Pokeballs, and he's like, "Don't open those.
Don't open It's just full of the
The
worst.
scariest Pokeball you could ever do. You tap it and just a pedophile.
It's freaking Jeffrey
The hell is
Epstein in the
this,
Pokeball.
Well, another book in the books. Not really, not quite. Half a book in the books.
No, have a book.
We'll come back for part 2. My goodness. Thank you, John Langan.
Yeah.
This is so good. It's delightful. Can't wait to read more of his stuff. And man, I like this guy. Thank you to our fake sponsor. Who's fake sponsoring us this week, Kyle?
Pennies.
Pennies.
Kind of down and out these days.
Like
so
the
they're
coin?
trying to get us to sponsor them because they're like, remember,
They're really struggling.
they stopped making us.
Don't
Please
forget
put
about
me. Please leave me in your couch. Please put me in your pocket.
Put me in a fountain.
I have Lincoln on me, please. That's
You please-
pennies.
Yeah, there you go. Pennies.
I'm
Also,
not worth anything.
a real thank you to a real person that really helped our podcast, John Turner, this guy I work with who built the bones of our website. So I can't take credit for the whole thing. The website is live. It's bibliofools.com. Check it out. I did put a good amount of work into it, but built on something that was just beautiful and elegant. And thank you, John, for letting me use that code.
Thank you,
Thanks,
John.
John. It's a really good website, guys.
Yep,
Check
we
it
love
out. It's not like
Check it out.
it's not like a bad website. It's a good
It's like one of
one.
the good ones.
It's one of the good ones. You can
Yeah.
It's easy to access our podcast from there. It's just if you're like, oh, I don't like the format of Spotify or Apple Podcasts, just go to our website. They're all there. It's beautiful. It's really good. Thank you, John.
And like anytime you're at like a friend's house or like the library, just go in there. Just type in Bibliofools, leave it open.
Bibliofools.
Just leave it open.
Just leave it
Just
open.
let them
Leave
find
it
it.
there. Be like, I want to show
Yeah.
you a really funny YouTube video. Oh, is this bibliofools.com? Have you guys ever heard of this?
You guys seen
Oh,
this?
this is crazy.
That's so
Let's listen to
crazy.
a whole episode.
Yep. Exactly like that. You must do that sometime this week and then let us
And
know.
report back.
Rack the stats up.
If
Yeah.
not, we'll send Helen after you. Da, da, da. She's wet
Helen-
and dead.
Helen
wet
the
and
zombie
dead.
mom. She's wet and dead.
She wants her kids.
Oh, man. Well, subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on socials at BibliaFools. We kind of invented the word, so we get the handle everywhere. And email us at bibliafools@gmail.com. Parting advice from me, don't go chasing waterfalls.
Yeah, you'll die.
You'll drown.
You'll go right. That's a cliff. That's a cliff. You
Just
know,
a fancy cliff.
That's a
That's
cliff,
height
guy.
and water.
That's a
Yeah.
pretty cliff. You think you're on a river. It's a waterfall. You're like, oh, look at that. Dead cliff. It's a cliff.
It's not going to turn out like Disney movies. You're going to crash and die and be shattered on the rocks. You're not going to pop up magically. You're going to die.
Man,
It's
it's
a
a
wall.
hard metaphor to sort of wrap your mind around, but don't go chasing them. That's all I have to say. We love you. We'll see you next week.